Well, that works for me. Only 16 minutes late, but we'll get this done.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. The T-bone.
And chick brew.
Let's God bless. All these years, just get it right one time.
What do you want from me?
40 years they've been trying. You couldn't fire somebody if they were horrible, doing a terrible job for the veterans. And now you can say, you're fired.
Okay. No one listens to radio.
And now for a quick disclaimer. The T-Bone
And chick brew.
Show is brought to you by nobody. We have no sponsors.
The show is still rated G.
For glorious. So it turns out, as we prepare to decorate for the holiday season, that my Spanish Christmas tree that I love so much has never been put up in the United States. We have a backup tree that we've been using, the fiber optic light kind of tree. It's got all the decorations already built in. All you do is plug it in. Well, apparently, when we left Spain, somewhere in the move, I lost the tree stand. No problem. No problem. I get on ye old Amazon there and buy a new tree stand. And I get it up and I put it in the tree stand. Another problem, no plug. The plug that I need to plug in the tree, and I've gone through all of our storage bins, is nowhere to be found.
No.
So, in the year that we actually have people visiting us for Christmas, I've got a 2.5-foot tall Charlie Brown tree that looks sad upon the table. Strangely enough, if you go on the Amazon, you can buy Christmas trees with the fiber optic lights built right in. So on Tuesday, before anyone arrives, we should have a new Christmas tree. How is it? You look cold. Why do you look so cold?
Oh, you're back. Why do I look so cold?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not. I'm wearing my jacket. I'm even wearing the jacket from last time. I put it back on, so I wouldn't even start off cold.
Yes, but
I have coffee.
You're wearing a jacket and drinking coffee late at night in southern Spain when normally you're just sweating and complaining about how hot you are in the penthouse floor of your casa.
I have a very minuscule window of comfort as far as temperatures go, and we're outside that window.
Oh, okay. So there's a bit of a cold spell rolling through southern Spain right now.
Most people wouldn't actually call it that. I think only I.
Tell me, why were you late today? Tell me why.
Emergency brownies. That is why. It's 60 degrees. It's 60 degrees. Feels like 59. There's no excuse for me here.
As we break out our vocals there, several years ago, there was this thing that came out on the market called Sing-sation, and it was a karaoke thing, and it had different ways of synthesizing your voice and sound levels and a little disco ball strobe, and they wanted $1,200 for it. I put it on my wish list because I was never going to spend $1,200 for it. But if you wait a couple of years, the price goes down. And I recently purchased it for a mere $29.99. $1,200 to $29.99.
That's so funny.
I think this is going to be used while I have family visiting. We're going to use the karaoke stand as punishment. If someone breaks one of the many house rules that I've recently come up with, we're going to send people to the karaoke punishment, and that's how they're going to get past. You gotta go sing a song to appease the house, the gods of the house.
Well, what do I want to know about these house rules?
Well, we've been creating them as we go. I'm trying to come up with good house rules, simple house rules like you need to wear a swimsuit when you go in the hot tub. That's a house rule.
Meh.
Pretty simple. You have to wear.
Hot tub already. I'm not even there.
You have to wear pants in the house. That's a house rule.
Why?
You got to cover up your nether regions.
What if you're wearing a skirt?
Acceptable. For the two guests who could possibly wear skirts, skirt is acceptable.
wear a skirt.
I haven't really solidified the rules yet. I've been toying with the rules. Quiet time is between taps and reveille every day. So you don't want to violate that. You got taps and you got reveille. Period. I'm not going to tell them what taps and reveille are. I'm just going to say quiet time is between taps and reveille. And if they break that rule, then they're going to the karaoke stand.
They're going to be singing so many things. Bless them very much.
Another rule, your mom doesn't live here, although she may be visiting. Clean up yourself. Clean up after yourself, right? Toilet, seat, and lid down after each use. That's a house rule.
Fair.
Yes. If I'm not around, the dog is in charge. That's a house rule.
Yes, that's a universal rule. Everyone knows that.
What would you...
And Granger, not Rupert, in our house. There's an order.
What would you establish as house rules if you had visitors?
Our house is pure chaos.
Oh, yeah. All guns are loaded?
Chocolate. Don't feed the dogs chocolate. Everything else is fine.
Oh, that's a good rule. Yeah, that's we'll add that to the list. Don't feed the dog chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, like, what are rules if they're not meant? There are no rules here.
I'm making rules. If you break the rules, you got to go to the karaoke stand. You got to sing.
You just want people to sing.
So I buy this thing. And, what is that? What do you got there? What is it? And I break it out and I put it together and I sing a song using this karaoke machine.
Did you sound like T-Pain?
I don't know if she's impressed with the purchase, but I invite her to come and sing a song. And 8 songs later, I think she was okay with it.
She was not impressed at song 1, I can tell you that.
She was not impressed by my singing, but her singing continued to impress her. I'm going to hit the refresh button here to see if I can make your little avatar show back up again. Tell me why. So you went from frozen to black. I'm going to remove you. I'm going to add you back.
T-Bone, I've always been.
Yeah,
I know you're colorblind.
In the classic holiday spirit, do you see what I see?
I see nothing.
Total blackness where you should be.
Right.
All right, so maybe if you hit refresh on yours. And she's back. Hey, hi.
Because I was frozen with a decent face last time, so I can only make good faces while we do this in case I freeze. That way you can't, take a screenshot of, this face.
One of the hangups with this has always been, I need to see you. We could do this telephonically and probably have better audio quality, but it doesn't work for me unless I can see your smiling face, unless I can catch the nonverbal cues that you throw me. When we were in the studio together, you throw me some hand signals, you throw me some gang signs. I figure out what's going on. If this was just, I'm not good at picking up on nonverbal cues when I can't see them. But
that's fair.
But that's just me. What? Coffee? Why are you drinking coffee so late at night?
Okay, so one of the joys of not having kids is there is no Sunday night, I forgot I have a project due, or I forgot I need to take this for the group due on Monday morning. Now, if you are married to a teacher, turns out you still have children. So the manager they did a pre-order bake sale, and some of the kids are traveling for sports this weekend and just got home tonight, and we're like, oh, hey, by the way, I have to make 3 dozen brownies. And the parents were like, oh, well. But people have already paid money for those brownies. And so I said, well, I got stuff to make brownies. I got enough stuff to make brownies. So when we get done here, I already made the batter. That's what had me running a little late. I'm going to throw them in the oven, my tiny Spanish oven that can cook 1 tray of brownies at a time.
I feel like there should be a tray of brownies baking now while we talk with a little timer set in the background. And then when the timer goes off, he's like, excuse me, T-Bone, instead of waiting 16 minutes to come on, I need 1 minute to take the brownies out.
It's not 1 minute. I'm at the third floor. I have hurt myself terribly. It will take me 7 years to go down the stairs and back up. And at some point, I might just decide not to go back up the stairs, in which case you would just be sitting here thinking that I had fallen to my death. And you know what? It's just not something that I can do to you today.
Okay, well, we make choices, and I'm kind of okay with that one. You talk about the benefit of not having kids and then having children by proxy. I have the benefit of having kids that are so grown they no longer need me for anything, which you don't realize it until you grow old. You kind of want to be wanted for something. So my oldest just celebrated her birthday, and another year has gone by without us talking to one another. It's not something I'm proud of, but it is, as they proverbially say. What?
It's never too late. It's never too late.
Yeah, it's easy to say it's never too late, and not trying to put this out, but how hard would anyone work on a relationship if the other person doesn't want it? You know what I mean? How?
Most marriages. Are you kidding me? They just stay forever, and it's not even good.
I knew a couple in Italy that had been married for 60 plus years at the time that I knew them, and they did not speak to one another. They lived in the same house. They had family functions, but they absolutely refused to speak to one another. They lived in separate bedrooms, but they lived in the same house. They would have people over, and they were both capable of functioning speech. They could both speak, but they would not speak with each other. The hate was so deep between them, but the bond of marriage kept them together. But if you're not married to somebody and you don't live with somebody and they don't want anything to do with you, how hard do you work to try to maintain a relationship like that?
Probably pretty hard. I'm persistent and I'm stubborn. I don't. But it's up to you. It depends, like if it's something you want and you really want it, you'll figure out a way to make it work.
That sounds wonderful there, Mrs. Phil, Mrs. Dr. Phil. That sounds.
I'm trying not to put your business out there.
I'm just talking in generalities. It sounds really simple that if you want something, you try really, really hard to make it happen. But if you've tried really hard to make something happen for a long period of time and it's not happening, eventually...
What are you trying?
Eventually, you have to resign yourself to the fact that SOCKS.
I think that, a lot of times, sometimes, I'll talk about me. When I'm trying something, I'm trying what would work for me, right? Like this would make me happy. This would make me want to talk to me. That might not be what the other person is needing from me or wanting from me. So then have to change the approach.
Yep. and that's what you do. You attack a problem. If that doesn't solve the problem, you attack the problem from a different direction. I've always been a fan of looking at things from a different angle. You try to make things better, but you have to be aware. You have to be knowledgeable of the reality. And reality is people grow apart, whether it's an intimate relationship or any other type of relationship. People grow apart sometimes, and there's no bringing them back. There's no recapturing the magic that once was. Sometimes you just have to deal with what it is. And even if you don't like it, if you're not happy with it, you're not excited about it, you have to realize, they don't want me. Oh, well, I can't do any more. I can't make myself any more available to anyone than I do. And there you have it.
My parents will never get rid of me.
I'm very jealous of that. I'm very jealous of the relationship that you have with your parents. I'm jealous of the relationship my wife has with her family.
You have me. You have me. I even got you a Christmas present this year.
Yes. And even when I lied to you to try to make you reveal what the Christmas present was, I was hoping I would lie to you and then you would just tell me what it was so I wouldn't have to wait, but that didn't work.
It's you could open it very soon.
On Christmas, right?
No.
What do you mean no?
No.
I'm going to need you to tell me more, because all I got was Christina sent you something. You're not allowed to get it until Christmas. That's what I got.
Yes, but I have the ability to message. I message. We're in communication.
Oh, speaking of communication, let me see if someone I have been communicating with has even looked at the message I sent her. Oh, or oh, I didn't send the message. So that's how that worked out. I am so bad at communicating. Hey, I got a challenge for you. Now, I did this on the Sunday supplemental, and I was very proud of myself in the fact that I was able to, I was able to bring it in to the picture with me. And I'm gonna play this for you. This is the first time that we have done this. Can you see my screen?
Including a younger passenger.
Yes. You see something's wrong with her eyeball. Anyway, here we go. I want you to listen to this. I want you in the audience to listen to this 30-second clip. There's a test at the end. Pay attention.
In Dauphin County, troopers say the minor walked away from home on Edgewater Drive in Boyle just after 6:30 last night following an argument. They were last seen wearing a black puffer jacket, black pants, and white high top. Anyone with information is asked to call PSD Harris at 717-671-7500.
There you go. Did you get it? Do you need me to play it again?
Someone walked away after an argument.
A minor.
Seen wearing, wearing a black puffer jacket, black pants, and white high top shoes.
All of those statements are correct. Are you ready for some questions, some follow-on questions? Question number 1: is it a boy or girl?
Couldn't tell you.
Because they didn't tell you.
Right.
Is it a toddler? Is it a prepubescent? Is it a postpubescent? A minor is everything between 18 and below. How old is the child?
I don't know, but they will be available on the adoption.
How tall is the child? What does the child weigh?
Tall enough for high top.
What color is the child?
Nope, doesn't matter.
There is no descriptive information at all in this news story. They continually refer to the child as a minor and as they. If you are eliciting my assistance in finding the child, I need to know some details. Not a lot.
Show me a picture.
Yeah. I don't need social security number and mother's maiden name, but I need to know height, weight, color, sex. These are identifiers that you use in locating people.
They don't want you to find them. It's part of the conspiracy. Anywho, that's a rabbit hole that we do not have time for today.
I think we did have time for it. That's why I did it, or else I wouldn't have.
I'm just saying, if they don't give you anything to look for the people, then next thing you know, the picture of that person will be on the next 18-year-olds and under adoption commercial somewhere in America, which, upon further research, is not just a Pennsylvania thing. It's happening other places.
Oh, tell me more.
I asked some people that I know in Texas. I said, what do you know about this? And they said, that actually happens here too. And I said, that's so creepy and gross. Why?
I'm doing so many things. I can't keep track of all the things I'm doing. I told you about our new retirement plan, right?
That's what got me out. That's what got me into it.
All right, so I got to assume that the audience knows what I'm talking about. In a previous episode, I explained how we were going to start adopting children just before they get kicked out of the orphanage. At 18 years old, you reach the age of majority, and if you're in an orphanage, they kick you out. You can't be here anymore. You're not a child anymore. You got to go. But there is a push to get these kids who were 17 and a half years old adopted before they age out of the program so that they could feel loved one last time. The federal government will give you 3 months off. They will give you 12 weeks off anytime you adopt a child. As many children as you want. There's no cap on the amount of time that you can have off. And since me and the wife are both government employees, we figured we would start adopting children at the 17-year, 6-month plus mark. Give them a home for a little bit and kick them out and get the 3 months off. That's what we thought we would do. It's a good, solid plan based in facts. I'm afraid I shouldn't have said that out loud. I'm afraid other people will hear my idea and take it as their own.
I'm pretty sure people have been using this system for their own personal gains for a long time. This is nothing new. It's just the first time T-Bone has found a way to benefit himself.
What if? Now, this whole time I've been thinking about adopting strangers from the orphanages before they age out of the orphanage program, but I could adopt you.
You could adopt me. Yeah, I'll let you. When people ask, tell me about your family dynamic, I get to say I have 2 dads. I love this idea. I have 2 dads, 2 moms.
I got old dad and I got new dad. Why did new dad adopt? How did you get new dad? He needed some time off from work.
Yes. But this is a great plan.
You're not appropriated fund employee. You couldn't pull off the same scam.
Not yet.
Not. Well, that has been.
My coffee. I'll be back.
Well, that has been some good catching up, as we always do. Once a week, we try to catch up on the things that we've missed along the ways. Before we go into our segments, we got a couple of segments that we do on a regular basis. Is there any particular segment you would like to start with? Or do we just go to the Wheel of Destiny?
Wheel of Destiny. I like to the fate.
The Wheel of Destiny is chosen. The Book of Everything. Hey, speaking of the Book of Everything, one of our listeners, someone who's been in my mouth.
I think you're talking about a dentist.
My dental hygienist, Sharon, is a listener of the show. A wonderful lady. I enjoy having her in my mouth.
She's not a listener anymore. She's not your hygienist anymore. She's quit and she's run away.
She's a listener of the show, and she enjoys random factoids. And she had taken some time from listening to the show. She knew about the show, but then she wasn't listening to the show. And then we're talking, and she says she enjoys random facts. And, of course, I dropped the big one on her. So she's got that in her brain. You know.
I'll never leave.
Here we go with the Book of Everything. Every week we go into the Book of Everything. We pull out 2 facts, actual, no-kidding facts that... sometimes are pretty freaking awesome, and you never forget them, and then others that are not. The cost of fighting a libel action in the UK is 140 times greater than the average in Europe. Well, that kind of... I could tell you that the Book of Everything is not always a winner. Sometimes the Book of Everything is...
140 times a loser.
The American Psychiatric Association listed homosexuality as a mental illness until 1973.
I knew that.
I don't know about the American Psychiatric Association and what they list as mental illnesses in 2023. But I gotta believe, in the list of things that could possibly be a mental illness, I've gotta believe homosexuality way down on the bottom of the list of anything these days. You got the fur people
Nope. We're not gonna go alienate any of our possible potential listeners.
Animal people.
Fine. No, stop. No. Consenting adults doing consenting adults things doesn't matter. You're good.
Yeah,
we don't care. I don't want to know.
I wasn't talking about consensual adults. I was talking about animals. Animals!
Nope, stay away from it.
By the age of 18, the average American child will have seen 200,000 murders on television. I gave you the extra one because the libel one in the UK was kind of stupid. So by the age of 18, the average American child will have seen 200,000 murders on television.
Some days I walk, like, especially when I'm back in the States and I'm like on the subway or something, and I think, how many murderers am I walking past it? you know, you got to walk past some, right? Like, it has to happen. At some point, you've walked past someone who has knowingly taken a life. There's just no way. But then at the same time, I also have, like, walked through some very questionable parts of town and been like, you never walk through these places and just see a foot. Because television would have you believe that every time you walk literally anywhere, there's a foot in the bush.
A foot in the bush?
There's a joke. Like, on tour, we would walk through all these, like, the sand dunes in Miami, through, like, under the overpasses. If you watch TV would tell you that there's a foot attached to a dead body underneath every pile of rubbish anywhere in the world.
Oh, okay.
It's never happened. But I do wonder how frequent. How many murders have I walked past?
A lot. Yeah. When you're standing on a subway platform in New York City, it always amazed me of the people who would stand near the edge, you know, because the pusher phenomenon has been occurring for years. I hate the fact that the New York City subway system is not advanced enough to figure out that you could put a no-kidding shield in between the deadly tracks and
Just like at JFK.
and the customers. They've never figured that out. They figured it out in Seoul. They figured it out in Japan. They figured it out in China.
Every airport in the entire world.
They've got it figured out, but not the New York City subway system. And there's always this BS about, oh, we can't figure it out. Okay. And then, you know, the next day in the New York Post, another woman got shoved in front of a train. Another Jew got shoved in front of a train. Another Asian got shoved in front of a train. There was this big push to stop Asian hate crimes and to stop Jewish hate crimes. There was these big pushes, and they were blaming Caucasians for all of these. And every time I see these in the New York Post, it's not Caucasians causing the hate crimes, but yet we're the ones going through all the training.
Are you going through training?
Yes, I go through a lot of training on a regular basis.
Working.
Moving on.
It's time to talk about cooking.
And tonight proved one thing. You know, all.
Now, I know you're in the process of cooking brownies. I am disappointed in the fact that you are not cooking cupcakes. I am even more disappointed that you are not cooking lemon cupcakes, because in the national days of the week thing, there are 406 days in December that have national days attached to them. This week, National Cupcake Day and National Lemon Cupcake Day are the same day. Yeah.
Good for lemon.
Because being a cupcake wasn't enough. The National Cupcake Day wasn't enough. They're like, excuse me, point of order. I believe we need to specifically address lemon cupcakes as well as cupcakes on Cupcake Day. Aside from cupcakes.
I just like that lemon cupcake was like, let's make this day even more about me.
Aside from cupcakes and brownies, what have you been cooking as of late?
Oh man, I made, I don't want to say Thai chicken curry noodles because it was all of the flavors, but there was no recipe followed. This was nothing traditional.
Real cooks don't need recipes.
Yeah, it was like all the flavors you would do in like a Thai chicken curry, but it was so good. You ever just like made something and you wish you had written it down?
Oh, many times.
And now that might have been a one and done.
A one-off.
One time. Yeah.
Yeah. What did I do that was so special about that? How do you feel about apples in your stuffing?
Meh, I could see that. It'd be crunchy. It's not as good as celery, but I can see that.
In addition to celery. So you got all the ingredients in there, and you also...
raisin or a grape in there.
No raisins, no grapes.
Yeah, that would make it garbage.
I make my celery with Jimmy Dean sausage.
Your stuffing.
My stuffing, yes. It would be difficult to make a celery that way. I make my stuffing. With Jimmy Dean sausage, with celery, with pecans or walnuts, depends on what's on special, because, nuts can get expensive. And I also like to hide tiny bits of apple inside of it. And it is quite delicious. So we've got a potluck coming up on Tuesday, and I am
just going to eat stuffing?
I am bringing stuffing.
But what are you going to eat? Just stuffing. That's why you put the apple in there, trying to make it a whole salad.
So what's funny is as our audience continues to grow with people that I meet along the way, I don't like eating other people's food. You know how I am with that. My coworkers, some of them understand my quirkiness and embrace my quirkiness. So it's just the strangest thing. So on the 12th, we've got this giant potluck that's going on. All right. I work at a very, very large building, and throughout the building, there's going to be separate stations, and each station or each business code is responsible for bringing a thing. And our code is responsible for bringing sides, and another one is responsible for bringing desserts and entrees and every code has got a different task. And I look at all of these codes and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I'm not going to eat any of this food, but I want to participate. I want to be, a participant. So I'm going to make some food, and it's going to be delicious, and people are going to enjoy it. But I look at the list of things on the sign-up list, and like somebody's bringing in like tacos from Taco Bell, although not a traditional holiday food. It is individually wrapped. It is made by somebody who's had to pass some kind of inspection for cleanliness that probably wears gloves and a hairnet. If I were to eat anything, it would be some tacos from Taco Bell. Well, no. My stuffing, I will eat my stuffing, but once I present that to the general public, the moment somebody else's grubby little hands gets near it, yeah, I'm done. I'm out. So that's my big thing for me. I'm making my stuffing, and the apples I've done hit or miss. I've done apples, and then I haven't done apples. I like the apples. It adds it's a nice, unique taste. I think it's definitely a different type of stuffing. That Jimmy Dean sausage, number one, really spices it up.
The one with the spicy one or the sage one?
The spicy. Yeah, but I mean, it's spread out. It's not a clump here and there. It's really it's ground real nice. It's just flavor bites. The nuts are always nice. Pecans are better than walnuts, I think. And the celery, of course, is chopped up real nice. And that apple is just special. It's special. It makes it different. It makes it unique. Nobody does stuffing like my stuffing. The question I had that I wanted to ask the audience, I have family visiting soon. What is a fun food thing you do with family and friends?
Like decorating.
Oh, that's a good one. With my daughters, we used to make Italian loaf. They would visit me on the weekend, and Italian loaf takes some work. So I'd bring them into the kitchen, and we'd make up the dough, and that takes some time, and then we proof the dough, and then we bake the dough, and by late Friday night, we've got ourselves a nice Italian loaf, and it was delicious. It was wonderful, and it was a fun shared experience. I don't want to do Italian loaves when my family comes, because you try to make it a fun shared experience, and you're going to end up with a ton of bread that no one's going to eat. So I've been thinking about what we're going to do as a shared experience, as a food fund, I'll call it. Decorating Christmas cookies is fun. I like the thought of that. I don't know how to do that, though. So I imagine you make some sugar cookies.
Yeah.
Okay. And they come out of the pan, and then you put them up on the table, and you're like, here you go, everybody. Have at it. But then you would have to give them the tools and instruments necessary to make decorations.
Yeah.
What would those things be?
Frosting and sprinkle. And you could just use frosting in the tub. You just put separate it out into some different colors, put some food coloring in, stir it up. If you want to get fancy, you could do little tiny piping bags with Ziploc bags, but you don't even have to do that. You could literally just be like, and figure it out, and give them some frosting, some cookies and sprinkles. And you know what? It's
You have to be careful with piping bags, I have discovered. Most recently, when my mother-in-law came to visit, I made deviled eggs. I was so proud of myself for making these deviled eggs. They were very good deviled eggs. They were great deviled eggs. But what I found, I've been working on that, sorry. Crooked Joe. What I found out with the piping, you got to have the right nozzle attachment. So it definitely said, like, use the 5-star nozzle attachment for the deviled eggs. But I didn't have a 5-star nozzle attachment. I had the attachment. I went to squeeze it, and it was a little clumpy. So there was some blockages that I forced through, and it just... Wow! It just it did not
Go on.
It did not look as decorative as I would have liked it to be. I am thinking for some food fun with my family that's visiting.
Make a pair of shoes.
As I think I'm going to teach them how to make gimbap.
Or a pair of shoes.
I think gimbap. I think because if you're not Asian, specifically Korean, you don't know that you have the ability to make gimbap. But I, thanks to my friend Emily, know that white people can make Asian food. And I've gotten good at it, and it's fun because you got the ingredients, but then someone has to put it together, and I think putting it together is the fun part. I think that would be entertaining. That and karaoke and pinochle, I told you the karaoke is going to be punishment. If you break any of the house rules,
Right.
Yeah. Break any of the house rules, you got to go sing a song.
You have ridiculous rules.
I'm working on the rules to make them breakable. Yes.
Yes. You go to the bathroom, but don't tell everyone that you're going to the bathroom. You have to.
Yes.
That one.
All bathrooms
That would do it. People will be getting up to go.
All
You didn't tell us. You got to go sing.
All bathrooms require a public acknowledgement. I am going to make poo.
You don't have to go. I'm going to the bathroom. If we are not alerted, you have to go sing.
All right. Well, that's us talking about cooking. Let's move on to the next segment.
And now it is time for headlines from around the globe.
Headlines from around the globe works like this. She randomly pulls some international news stories from whatever source she can find. She reads them to me. I hear them for the very first time, and we do our best to mine some humor or information or education out of said headline. Do you have any headlines for me?
Oh, I do.
Oh, you do.
Video shows Disneyland streaker going naked on It's a Small World.
It's a small world after all. It's a small penis. There he goes. Okay. If you are streaking at Disney World, you got issues. You got issues. You should never streak in front of a place that's specifically designated for children unless you're trying to rile up children with your bits. I have to, number one, I've got to assume it's a man because, throughout the years, for all of my lifetime, women streakers, not really a thing. And if there was a woman streaker, nobody gets offended. Nobody gets upset with the bouncy of the boobies. Nobody gets upset with that. It's the bouncy of the dingalingas. Those people don't like that. They're very upset with that. They don't like it. And
There's video.
there's video
I
of
don't know
the.
that I would call him a streaker. I feel like he's.
Oh well,
He's
let's
just-
be clear in our definition. A streaker must be naked without underwear. This is just some meth head who got the sweats and needed to cool down. This isn't nearly as fun once you reveal. The moment you revealed he was wearing underwear.
Don't read the actual article.
No need to read the article.
He was not trying to be discreet at all. He's all over the place.
Have you ever had the desire to streak?
No, it seems very dangerous.
Yeah, I never like the way things. everything I have needs to be covered for a reason.
It should be, yeah.
Even when I wear a kilt, which I have done on occasion, I have not been comfortable with my twigs and berries being free to roam. So even though there's mirrors at the door of some Scottish pubs to see if you're packing, I wear underwear. I'm a big fan.
I feel like there's just, what if you you're running around? I feel like streaking is not something that you do in a slow pace. There's jiggling that's going to happen. I don't want any, no thank you.
And it almost always,
a boob or something.
It almost always ends in a group tackle. Like the streaker is always slammed down on the ground by multiple people. And that in itself leads to possible protrusions that I am not comfortable with. If you ever see me streaking, it's because my clothes were on fire and I couldn't get help from Oprah Winfrey or Tom Cruise. That's a Talladega Nights reference. All right, you got another headline for me?
Yeah. Florida bear swiping food delivery off of porches.
Well, people don't realize that we do have bears in Florida, and they're big old bears, and hey, boo-boo, they're hungry too. So if you live out in the sticks in Florida, it doesn't happen in the metropolitan areas too much. Occasionally, you'll see them at the little elementary school. There'll be a whole family of bears in the tree, and people lose their mind. But if you're out in the sticks and you're cooking up some grub, and that grub smells good to you, you have to believe that the bear and his snout, with 1,000,000 times more receptors in it than your nose, also believes that that smells good. And they're going to come in and they're going to investigate the good smelling stuff. My friend RJ, luckily, he lived in the more metropolitan area of Jacksonville, Florida. He converted an old steel refrigerator into a smoker. And when he had that thing going, Burger King didn't have anything on the amount of flavor he was putting into the air. I have always contested that Burger King invented aromatherapy, because if you drive by a Burger King, you smell getting fat. And if your body has adapted to the smell of Burger King, you drive by a Burger King and you get fatter. I have to drive by a Burger King, 2 Burger Kings. I have to drive by 2 of them every day. That's why I keep gaining weight. It's just from the smell of burgers. So yeah, bears are going to do bear things. You better believe it. And if there's food around, I saw a video recently where the bear came up on the back deck and there was like 10 burgers on the grill. And he opened up the grill and he looked at all the burgers and he just started snatching them one by one, just eating. Good. And then he went over to the table and there was some beer at the table and he chugged down some bears. I wish I could tame. I wish I had a tame bear. I would love a bear as a pet. If it was possible,
a bear as a pet.
If it was possible to have bears as a pet, I would definitely want a bear as a pet.
I watched this video about a girl who rescued a bobcat baby. Let's go ahead and add that to the list. It was so cute. It lived with her.
And she didn't die?
No. And it snuggles her pet cat, her regular size, not just one bobcat size, one corgi, and a orange Garfield.
It's always, you see people who have the monkeys and orangutan pets, and then one day, the monkey eats their face.
Totally fine with that.
Yeah, or, a sad story. I don't even remember where it was at recently. A sad story where a neighbor child came to the house, and that neighbor child had been told repeatedly, do not go in the garage, and went in the garage, and 2 large dogs killed the kid because that was their house and the child had been warned. And unfortunately, not only does the child die, but they're going to end up putting these dogs down who are just being dogs. This is my house. This is my section of the house. You have been warned. But children don't listen. I feel bad for everybody involved in that story.
There's nothing good there.
I had.
But if I had a pet and it ate me, all right. What a way to go.
Peter O'Doyle. I think it was Peter O'Doyle. He played Frank Barone on Everybody Loves Raymond. He played the dad. He was an accomplished actor. He was Frankenstein in Mel Brooks's Bride of Frankenstein. I believe his name was Peter O'Boyle. He's a great actor. He did an episode of The X-Files that has haunted me for years because he was an insurance salesman who could see how people were going to die. He had visions of how people were going to die, so he tried to sell them insurance with the insider trading, if you will. He had knowledge about what was going to happen, and his next-door neighbor owned a tiny little chihuahua, and he hated that chihuahua because he knew she was going to die alone in the apartment, and the chihuahua was going to eat her, because the chihuahua needed to survive. It didn't want to eat her, but it needed food, and she was the only thing available. And he saw that vision, so he always hated that chihuahua. You little monster. And, my personal experience with chihuahuas is chihuahuas are little monsters, and that's why I got this cute little dimple right here. Hey, mister, does your dog bite? No, that dog don't bite. Sorry, little trauma. That was talking about the news.
Everybody, just relive that for everybody. It's okay. You're safe. You're safe among friends.
Well, we've done the book of everything. We've talked about cooking. We've done the news. Let's remind people that they can get free tickets to the Comedy Zone if they give blood.
Get your laugh on and save a life. The Harrisburg Comedy Zone, in partnership with the Central Pennsylvania Blood Bank, offer 2 free passes for every single pint of blood donated. Quick clarification, it must be your blood. 1 pint, 2 free passes. That's almost the junkie rate for a plasma donation. Did you know a single pint of blood can save as many as 3 lives? Did you know the Harrisburg Comedy Zone features amazing talent from all over the country every single weekend? Did you also know that blood expires and the Central Pennsylvania Blood Bank is in regular need of donations? For more information on how you could save a life and have a laugh, visit cpbb.org and harrisburgcomedyzone.com. That's one word, harrisburgcomedyzone.com.
I had somebody asking me about the Harrisburg Comedy Zone website this week, and I was like, I should just play this commercial for you. It's harrisburgcomedyzone.com. One word, harrisburgcomedyzone.com. Hey, also, a little plug for the swag store, because there's only 15 days until Christmas.
Hello, welcome to the Lunsby store. I'm Caitlin.
Hey Caitlin, I'm Cooper. I'm looking for some cool stuff.
We have tons of things available, all of it cool. And we can personalize anything you want.
That's gotta be crazy expensive.
No, all of the personalization is done for no extra cost.
Cool, let's start shopping. Where's all the stuff?
On the internet, duh. Just search for the Lunsby swag store.
And don't forget to listen to the Lunsby show with T-Bone and Chick Brew.
Lunsby!
The Lunsby Show does not hire child voice actors, but we do use child volunteers. Volunteers are not compensated but are appreciated. The Lunsby Swag Store is a real store that makes real products for real customers at a very fair price.
Getting ready to close out this week's episode with our ever-popular birthday booster. She gets to choose one. I get to choose one of our friends, our many, many friends and listeners. We give them a birthday boost that may or may not be true. It may say amazing things. It may say not so amazing things. If you're not lucky enough to get a birthday boost, then you would get this thing called an honorable mention. You get an honorable mention. We try to grab everybody, but at the same time, we can't get you all. As usual, Miss Chick Brew, you go first.
Oh, this is a hard one. I'm going to go with Eileen Marvish. She was probably one of my first friends that I ever had when I got to Texas. Her dad was in the Marines. We were like the 2 military kids where everyone else had been going to the same schools with each other forever and ever. I was coming in from Japan. She was coming in from Germany. Many Friday nights of reading 17 magazine, painting nails, doing hair, gossiping. Love a good gossip session. Big old December birthdays. Gotta be the worst, but also the best. So happy birthday, Eileen. I see both of your kids are growing and 18. That's really messing with my head. I don't know about you, but when your friends' kids were like graduating high school all of a sudden, did that mess you up?
No.
You?
No.
No? Oh my God. Anyways, we're old. Happy birthday. I'm spiraling. You're thriving.
What messes me up is not them graduating high school. It's when they become parents. Jen Shunky is a great example. A wonderful woman who was a child, and, I know her as a child, and I know her brother as a child, and they were children when my children were children, and then they grew up, and then they started having children. That screws me up. Not graduating, but, procreating screws me up.
My godson, he turned 18 in October and is like, I can't. I'm just like, I'm.
Your godson's already having babies?
No.
That's the next step. That's what I'm talking about. It's not 18. It's not graduating high school. It's having babies.
I'm not ready. Look at what his mother's situation is or his situation. Let's slow down and think about me for a second. I am not ready.
I am going to give a birthday boost to a friend of mine that I have known for over 20 years, who has gone on to do amazing things, and you may know who he is. I can tell you, I knew him when he was an up-and-comer. I knew him when he was a feature. I wanted to help him build his first website. He is from Beham. He's from the Birmingham, Alabama. His mom is amazing, and I have never given him a birthday boost before. So Roy Wood Jr. is going to be celebrating his 45th birthday this year, tomorrow, as a matter of fact, from this taping. Roy, as you may know, is a regular correspondent on The Daily Show, who has also emceed the White House press conference, not the White House press conference, the press dinner. Roy is very, very popular on Facebook. Long ago, it was so fun. So I know Roy is a comedian, but he was also radio talent. He worked in radio. I leave Jacksonville, where I meet Roy. I go to Sicily, and this is in the earlier stages of the internet. The internet was then not what it is now. It was different, but I would get like an email of some of his bits that he would do with his prank calls. He used to do prank calls. And I would send him an email like, dude, I am in Sicily right now, and I am listening to you, and you are cracking me up. And then when I was in Korea, I was getting weird things about him, and I reached out to him many, many times. What do you want from Korea? Send me some soju. Okay, I sent him some soju. Never said thank you. He never said thank you. I hope in this stage in your life, Roy, you know how to say thank you. and I mean, he's gone on to do amazing things. He's a very funny, very sweet man. I wish him nothing but the biggest, the brightest, the best. I apologize I didn't give the cheers on yours. I'll put that in post. So there's mine. Who is your honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions, Tiffany O'Brien, Max King, Grant Ewing, Travis Lynch, who just became a dad. Congratulations there, Travis. Christina Garcia Conley, Melissa Walton. I don't know if you remember her. My Aunt Denise, and Kitty.
All right. Well, Curt Groshans, a longtime friend of mine that I met in Sicily, and he works on the base with me. I'm going to make sure to remind him of his happy birthday in person. Travis Propes is having his birthday along with Ernie Stevens. Lupe Pachetti, she's having her birthday. Jason Rakowski celebrating his along with Alex Brewer. No relation. For the record, Daniel White, Jessica Gallegos, Melissa Jerome, John Voorhees, Josh Escobar, Brian Calderwood, Donald Blevins, Tommy Torres, and Alejandro Lowe. I always thought those two names didn't really match up well. Alejandro Lowe. Wishing all of you nothing but the biggest, the brightest, the best, and the happiest of happy birthdays. Chick Brew, before we wrap this week up, is there anything else you want to talk about before the next time we get together?
We got one more show before?
We have one more show before the big Tibbs Eve special.
Yes, on the 17th, and then Tibbs Eve is the 23rd. Are we going to do a show on the 24th in addition to Tibbs Eve, or are we going to just put out Tibbs Eve?
I think Tibbs Eve is going to cover us for that week.
Okay, so we will speak again on New Year's Eve, or will you be?
I could do a New Year's Eve. Can you do a New Year's Eve?
I'm pretty sure I can.
There may be some drinking involved.
I don't think I work that day because I work the weekend before. I work the Christmas weekend.
Okay.
So let me confirm that we're not going to be doing anything like out. We'll probably do New Year's Eve.
And we have agreed that at the end of this calendar year, we're going to roll into a new season.
Yeah.
Yeah, because season 11 right now, I think, is we've gone quite deep into. We've definitely done more than 52 weeks of work in this one season. But that makes up for previous seasons where we didn't do that much work. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I remind you today as I remind you every day, just be the best person that you can be. And if you are a great person today, be an even better person tomorrow.
And don't forget that you are loved.
Thank you for listening to T-Bone and Chick Brew. If you enjoyed that show, you should check out the Jerome McClain Show, independent media that won't reinforce tribalism. We have one planet and nobody's leaving, so let's reason together. You can find the Jerome McClain Show at the same place you actually listen to this show. Give it a shot.
I have been fat fingering these buttons for like 3 weeks in a row, and now I want to listen to it again because I forgot what that sounded like. So here we go.
It is time for a resolution rewards update.
I don't think we're going to do that again in 2024, but we'll talk about that in a future episode. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, Lunsby.
Speaking of fat fingers, did you see the guy?
I have no idea what you're talking
about. Navy game? You have no idea?
No.
Oh my God.
You're going to have to educate me.
You're going to have to look it up.
All right. As always, ladies and gentlemen, Lunsby.